Welcome back to Goliath. Today we're talking about version numbers and how we help to visualize the version number of your firmware for your fleet at both the cloud level and how we utilize Zephyr and MCU boot to help you out. I'm here with Tron today. How you doing, Tron?
Hey, good. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, good. We're gonna take a look at some of the new stuff in cohorts, but let's start a little bit going back, kind of how we used to do things, how Zephyr used to do things, MCU boot used to do things. Ultimately, what is the I guess maybe from the cloud side, where you're spending a lot of your time, where did you see some of the things that we were doing and how it might have been different before?
So I think the main thing that we saw that was problematic was the lack of control. Feeling like you know exactly what's going to happen when you make a release or when you upload an image. You need to make sure every step of the way that your devices are getting the image that you want them to get, and that it's the right devices that are getting it, so that you don't end up in a situation where something goes wrong in your OTA, because your OTA is meant to be your safety net, not a hazard.
Right. That's right. Yeah, the last thing we want to be doing is lobbing bricks anywhere. We need to make sure that the image is right. And this actually does happen definitely on the cloud side, but even like I've booted up images before and I'm just like, what am I looking at? Is this the right version? You know, like, so thinking about all these different levels, we have a blog post that goes along with this video. And, some of it has changed even in some of the underlying stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about reference designs, which is something we maintain just because it kind of approximates a product flow. But these reference designs use Zephyr, and the bootloader is MCU boot, which is very well integrated with Zephyr. So we'll be looking at that. Maybe now we could, though, talk about cohorts. And now, so kind of the old way of doing things, how have things kind of improved now that cohorts are more of a thing?
Yep. So, yeah, here's the screen. I think the first thing that we get here with cohorts is being able to separate the releases from all being in a big bunch, targeting different devices, to first of all seeing all your devices grouped into cohorts at the top here, and then within the cohort seeing exactly which deployment is active, and also exactly which packages are part of the deployment. And we use these columns here to illustrate that, and from that we can see, in my case, I've made a cohort here with just the one deployment, and it has a main package. We can see the version number of the package, but we can also see here that we have a new package available for this cohort that we haven't deployed yet. And I think we can actually go ahead and do this. We can see from the version number here that we're doing an upgrade. And when we want to make a new deployment like this, let's call it demo, we can see that we have the main package. It used to be on 1.3.0, so that's the unchanged version. We can downgrade or we can upgrade. And we're doing this with the power of semantic versioning. It allows us to actually interpret the versions, but you can choose to version your package as any way you want, and they'll still be showing up here, but since we can't tell if it's an upgrade or downgrade, it'll be unchanged or changed.
Yeah, and I think that server-side knowledge of an image, right? You're also pulling out from the MCU boot. So because we're looking at MCU boot-based images, you're able to pull that out from the headers, and that's what ultimately powers this UI, which I think is very helpful to say, like, oh no, we're going up a version, down a version, because sometimes rollbacks need to happen, and that's fine. But just being very, very clear, instead of just my goofy eyes that are like, oh, I'm sure 1.2.4 is what I want. No. There's a 3. There's a 3 there. 3
Yep.
is higher than 2. I know this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's helpful.
It is, and I think when we bring this through here as well, you'll have to confirm that the version is right. But we'll be able to see the updates here in the historical view as well. We added this package in this first deployment, and then we upgraded it in the second one. And that too, having that historical context is important, not just for seeing where you've been, but also to be able to spot any odd behaviors with any of your new deployments.
Are there other tools that are able to help you spot those behaviors, or is it more just then you're kind of into logs and seeing versions being reported, that sort of thing?
We're working on adding a lot of visibility to that, but that's still for a future blog post and video.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be back
yeah.
soon.
Yeah. There's this, but of course these are the deployments, but we also have the artifact versioning, which is really what you want to do here. So the artifact here, or the packages, are all they have all the version numbers in them. So
Okay.
when you're deploying a new version of your application, that's a package, but the deployment, pushing it out, is a separate event with a separate timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some more tools over in the package UI as well for controlling the version numbers there.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's I think having maximum control but like kind of sensible defaults is like the best case scenario, I feel like. And I'm going to follow the defaults most of the time. I don't have extreme needs, but I think people that might be migrating old fleets, they're working with whatever their historical stuff is. They might need more control there. They might need that sort of thing. So like being able to have those tools is really, really important, but then do what you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we don't want to get in anyone's way. I think we have to respect, when we're building platforms like this, we have to respect existing workflows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if our platform is too opinionated, it's going to conflict with your workflow. So that's not what we're trying to do. Just finding the right balance with flexibility and control here.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a quick look at. I'm going to just open up an image of the old way we used to do things. So now we've been talking about how we've been generating. We've been saying we've been generating images and generating package numbers, but we actually used to have to do this manually. And Tron and I were kind of talking before we started recording, like, that is, I basically it's like as you're at the command line, you're scripting it yourself. And if you look through some of the old this is our old documentation. This is a command you used to pass through as a CMake command. And this was it. So like when you were doing on the command line, you're like, all right, well, this commit right here is 1.2.3. And there's really there's nothing in version control. And it got to the point where like I might have a tag in GitHub that was 1.2.4, but then I go up in my console and I run the same build command and I can build the same image. So this is actually a very positive thing that has changed. And so if we go to the reference design template, which like I said, we're talking about in as kind of our demo in this blog post, we now actually adopted the Zephyr version. So this is, again, it's a controlled file so that when we actually do a push when we do a release, right? Release template 2.4.1, like Mike did here. This is a file that goes along with it, which is really, really nice because then automated build systems can pull that out, like on GitHub Actions. People like me aren't in charge of building it and uploading a binary. It's a controlled document at that point. And that really starts to, tagging is one thing, and we do still tag stuff on the cloud. There's still humans in the loop, so we could do it, but at least when there's eyeballs involved, that helps a lot. And this is a Zephyr thing for application version management that we've adopted. And so, they have version major, minor, patch level, tweak, and extra version. We only have 3 of these levels on the cloud, so that's important to know. But Zephyr adopts this for bigger things here too. So I could probably just attach this unstable to all of my firmware. I should probably just do it. Can we put that in the cloud, Tron?
Let's do it. Yeah. Do you want an icon to go with it?
Yeah. Just my face. Unstable. And so this was something we pushed in at 2.4.0, and now we can actually see it happening here in the cloud. So I have compiled and uploaded this version. It pulled it out of here, and so I thought I would actually just upload another one to show kind of another package we might want to have in here. And so this is actually the build folder for the references and template I was talking about. I actually went and I copied and just called this one 2.4.1 again. And I think if I do this, Aha, it already exists, same blueprint and version, right? So now we're basically saving me from myself, and that is a very, very important thing. So this is kind of some of the guardrails. If I really wanted to, I could probably work my way around it, remove the version, whatever, if I really, really needed to. But in this case, because the hash is the same and the version is the same, it's going to do that sort of thing. All right, so now I've got 2.4.1 on here, but now I'm going to try and upload a different version. So I actually went and I changed the version number. I did a pristine build, which is the error that I learned about. And let's try and upload a new version now, and hopefully that will pull it out. Okay, so same thing, we're going to do appsign.bin. And there we go. So now it actually did pull out that 33, and we can see that this, if I do nano app version, so there we have the version number 2.4.33. Because I changed it there, it did then pull it out from here as well. If I then try and upload a different, I can just upload that, that's fine. If I try and upload a version that is not MCU based, MCU boot at all, so if I upload the .hex file, something I've done as well, basically, there we go. So another thing that just shows something ain't right here because it's trying to pull out the version number, right?
Yep. So you'll still be allowed to do this because we're not going to stop you from shooting yourself in the foot here. But
yes.
Hopefully it'll hopefully it'll give you pause at least.
Yeah, at least what am I trying to do here? Because again, the hex file is what you normally want when you're programming the whole thing with like a J-link, but if you're doing MCU boot, you want that kind of sub file that MCU boot actually grabs and implements, that sort of thing.
Yep.
All right. And then of course, Golioth, when you're doing an OTA, we'll break it up into chunks, send it down to your device. It'll use the APIs from MCU boot, and away you go. So very exciting stuff there. One other thing that's interesting to kind of call out in this context is that we don't have to use Semver, like you said. And for things like, there's other things that you might want to upload that are not necessarily firmware versions. So we've talked about that a little bit from AI Summer, but how do some of those work?
So yeah, basically the version number field is now just a free text field, and you can put whatever in there. But I think a typical use case here could be if you're doing continuous deployments, for instance, you're building your images in CI as you go, and you want to upload them as you go. You're not going to come up with a new version number for each of them. It's just today's build. So you can name it by today's date, or you can have the commit hash, or whatever you want, really. And it's not going to matter what the exact version is, especially in between releases.
Yeah, I like that, the commit hash for sure, because then it's like I can go back and I can look at my Git history and just say, oh, it's specifically this one. It's unique to that. And it's definitely not what I would want to be doing when I'm kind of out in the field, tons of products, but when I'm in kind of dev mode, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. And also I think just for general files that aren't firmware, we do, like, most of this is geared towards firmware, and MCU boot in particular, I think is by far the most popular bootloader used with Golioth. Yeah. So you can do it, but you can also use it for just distributing firmware, because it's the backbone and the data channel. Really, that's the core thing that you'll get from this, and you should be able to send over, if you have images that go into a screen on your device, or you have audio clips or whatever, they should also be OTA-able if you like.
Got it. What if I name a file version 47 v2 final underscore for real this time .zip? Can I use that?
The old school naming system.
Yep.
Yeah,
like that. No. I'm sure that doesn't happen at all anymore.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, and then final afterwards.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, no, you're allowed to. Okay. I wouldn't recommend it, but
save me from myself, Tron.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for putting this in here. I think this is gonna be really useful for just checking, making sure, just pointing out, hey, are you sure? You can do whatever you want, but don't. That's really great here. And I think a lot of the new Zephyr tools also are going to help us out in that same way. So thanks for showing us, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right. See ya.